there's sort of three areas of get to where we are today, but there was the infancy of you're really starting out a business, you've got negative cash flow, there's no management depth, it's all risk, and it's all around how do we get some revenue through the door. And that was probably when we were working, even after that first seed investment, and we're still working in the garage, building the business out. Where I imagine a lot of you are all at now is what they call the go-go phase, which is where there's too many opportunities, there's a lot of overlapping tasks, there's a struggle to delegate, and it's probably a difficult time for the business, but it gets masked by the fact that it's a very exciting time because there is a lot of opportunities and you're getting revenue and you're having wins and everyone's pretty excited by everything that's happening. And it's the exciting phase of the startup, and you're trying to build those methods and processes whilst they're actually happening. And you've probably heard all the startup sayings around building the plane whilst it's flying. And that's what you'll feel. And in particular, one of the terminology that we often use was that switch of going from the shared consciousness of your team to having to actually set up processes around it. So I remember we'd all be sitting, and that first investor who I was talking about, he actually gave us a free, basically it was a garage in his apartment block that he built out in Alexandria in Sydney. And we were working in this small space, and there was about 7 or 8 of us, and everyone knew what everyone else was doing. And if you wanted to pivot, if you wanted to change something, you could just walk into the office and say, hey, everyone, this is how we've been doing things. Now we're going to do it this way. And then by the afternoon, that change had happened. And not anymore. That's not how things work. You actually have to go through change processes and bring people along for the ride. But everyone sort of knew what everyone's role was. And then very quickly that changed. And we probably went through it even quicker and more difficult because we started opening up other offices in Canberra and Brisbane, which is another caution that I'd put pretty quickly. Think about that. Make sure you have strategies in place of how you're going to manage remote locations, because that's not a very easy thing to do, particularly when you're growing and scaling that quickly, to make sure that you're adopting the same cultures and processes in different locations, and make sure you have a pretty effective leader in those roles.